You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, woo, wheeling dealing, limousine riding, jet flying, son of a gun, and I'm having a hard time holding these alligators down. Woo!
You are watching the leaders in full immersion gaming, and this is the pregame show only on the NBL Network.
Season 28 of NBL kicks off tonight with doubleheader action here on NBL Live. And before we get to all that, we of course have our NBL Live pregame show, and that's brought to you each and every week by our graphic sponsor, Web3KS.com. They do that overlay you see here on NBL Live and a ton of other graphics across the entire NBL network. So if you or anyone you know needs graphics done for an affordable price, head over to Web3KS.com. They are the leaders in affordable graphic design, folks. Season 28 underway tonight, folks. We've got two games for you, kicking off with an NFC matchup between the New York Giants and the Seattle Seahawks, followed at 8:30 by a rematch of the AFC Championship between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Los Angeles Chargers. We appreciate each and every one of you tuning in. I'm OSU. I'm hanging out with the commish himself, Bomber. Season 28 getting underway. Broadcast number 150. And this season, it's looking like the best schedule yet.
Absolutely. We got a great schedule for NBL Live. We're really excited to kick off season 28. A lot of unfinished business. I know I said that last year with the New York Giants. That was kind of their locker room slogan. I think that's a lot of slogan for a lot of guys right now. There's a lot of teams kind of nipping at the bit, trying to get themselves in that position to make a run. And I can see 10 to 14 really formidable teams that can make a run. And we haven't seen this in NBL in a long, long time.
Well, let's throw up that NBL Live schedule. We'll be showing this throughout this broadcast, so if you miss anything now, don't worry about that. We'll keep throwing it up there. But, Bomber, I am super excited about this schedule. We've got a lot of teams we haven't seen on NBL Live before. We got a lot of great matchups. I'm looking at Week 4, Seahawks and Steelers, a rematch of the Super Bowl. That's going to be a great one. We've got a couple ones down the season. I'm excited for this matchup between your Detroit Lions and the Dallas Cowboys. Cowboys, a team we haven't seen on NBL Live a lot. And then, of course, I look at that Week 15 game, which could determine that NFC South, Panthers and Falcons. Bomber, this schedule, it is jam-packed with great matchups.
Yeah, some great action and some great opportunities. If you're looking to get involved in the NBL Network and you want to call one of these games, get with the NBL Network assistant, unisolate. See, I was going to throw him to you, but I decided, let's throw it to the assistant and make him work.
Let's surprise him with a little extra work.
Let's surprise him with a little extra work. If he's already down there doing a squat, man, he's going to be close to the ground now. But like you said, Week 4, that's what I'm really excited to see, a rematch of NBL Season 27 Super Bowl. We saw the Pittsburgh Steelers come away with their 4th title. We're going to get to see a rematch of that in the regular season, and we get to see both of those teams today. So that's kind of the cool part. We get to see where Seattle's at right now, where Pittsburgh is at, and then we're going to see them coming into Week 4 and see if there's any changes made and if they look a little bit more comfortable, because that early season rust and that Super Bowl hangover is a real thing, and hopefully both of these teams come out looking sharp.
Yeah, no doubt. This is a great schedule, folks. As always, subject to change. If you want to know each and every time we're live, hit that subscribe button down below. You'll know each and every time we go live here on the network. You can also follow us on Twitter at Bomber League. That's where we'll announce all of our matchups and game times. We typically do, it's on here week 16 and 17, but basically after about week 12, we'll flex any game in there that has playoff implications. So you may see matchups that aren't even on here yet. Should be a great season here on NBL Live. All right, one other quick thing from around the NBL Network. Bomber, very pertinent to you. Another episode of BTF Detroit Lions came out late last night, and this is a fun one because got to take a look at that NBL draft. If you haven't checked out the rookie draft from season 28, it's here on the network. Check that out after the doubleheader action tonight. It was a great show. Bomber, I continue, and Sonny Weaver, my partner on that broadcast, both contend that you and the Detroit Lions have one of the best drafts, picking up a speedy wide receiver, and you got to talk a little bit about your draft strategy in this episode of BTF Detroit Lions.
Yeah, you want to check it out. You want to see this draft pick, 97 speed, man. The kid's got it all, and he's got superstar development along with only being 21 years old. So there's a lot of potential and room for growth here. Even though he's 5'9", I still think he has the ability to kind of play big, man. We're looking at him to be maybe another Antonio Brown reincarnation, lip earmuffs. I know you don't want to hear that, but yes, we're looking at him like that to be that kind of an impact player. We also got a great tight end in the second round. You have to watch the episode, and there's an opportunity if you watch this episode to win an NBL Network hoodie. We talk about it in there, and you can leave a comment on the video, and I'll be drawing the winner next time to win. So make sure you check out that episode, and also the NBL draft, season 28 draft. What a great show. OSU, Sonny, Delvar behind the scenes pulling the strings. Great presentation. Shout out to Gub. Shout out to I almost said Project Fat. Shout out to Doughboy, actually.
Man, let's all settle down.
For the graphics. It almost just came out. He was with us a long time. NBL Hall of Famer. Big shout out to him. But Gub and behind the scenes Doughboy did some great things. So make sure you check out that as well and leave some feedback and let us know how we can improve it for the years to come, because we're always looking to improve here on the NBL Network.
Yeah, as always. So check out that episode after the doubleheader action. Quick programming note before we move on, just so everyone is aware, with this doubleheader, we will be taking down the stream for about 5 minutes after this game. Once this game goes final, we'll take down the stream for a couple minutes. We'll come back on with that second game. All right, Bomber, before we talk about the players to watch in this game, I am hot right now. I am real hot because right before the game, we had 2 releases of the power rankings. One from our very own Bleacher Report, one from our very own Nate Silver. Let's look at Nate Silver's first. The NBL Power Rankings, no surprise at the top, Steelers, Lions, Seahawks, Chargers, Vikings. That's a pretty good one at 1 through 5. I actually am pretty okay with all this. Browns sneaking into the top 10. Bomber, I really like that team at number 9. The Washington Redskins showed a lot in the playoffs this last year, and I think this Redskins team, they could be scary challenging for that NFC East title with that New York Giants team.
Yeah, I like this power rankings. I think Nate Silver does a great job for us. You can find him at NBL_Nate Silver. Does a lot of great things, and there's teams in there that deserve to be in that top 10, like the Bills, the Redskins. Now, we're saying, are they going to last in that top 10? We're going to find out. That's what we play the game for, you know? But there was some crazy things going on with the Bleacher Report.
Well, I'm just going to throw that bad boy up.
Yeah, and it's a top 32, so you get to see the entire league where the rankings were. I mean, I'm happy with my spot. An isolated secure at his spot, but everything else in between, I think, even though my bias says, hey, that looks good, the Lions right there, definitely not earned at this point. Obviously, they said they value some preseason stuff. I think some inner Skip Bayless going on at Bleacher Report, and maybe that's why they did this. And look what happens. Now they're on the live stream and we're talking about them, so it might be working.
Okay, well, let's start with, let's go with the number 8 team in Nate Silver's power rankings, the Buffalo Bills. Bleacher Report has them at number 19. Let's go to another thing I'm hot about, that Pittsburgh Steelers team, the defending Super Bowl champions, at number 3, not number 2, not
lost
one,
2 games
3.
in the last 2 seasons, and
they're number 3. Then I go right below the Pittsburgh Steelers, number 4, Kansas City Chiefs. That Chiefs team is very much improved, but number 4 in the NBL, that surprises me. I'm surprised as we go down the list, looking at the number 13 position, the Arizona Cardinals. I think the NFC West still is just a confusing mess, and I don't believe in the Cardinals one little bit. But I do agree the Jacksonville Jaguars at number 32. I'm surprised to see the Philadelphia Eagles up to number 29. I thought they'd be in contention for number 32. They're putting some stock in the Eagles. They did have a nice preseason, but Bomber, I look at this power rankings from Bleacher Report, and I sit there and I go, I appreciate that preseason is a thing. I appreciate that you take preseason into account, but how much weight can you really put into games that don't matter, where your starters are only playing 1 or 2 quarters?
Well, if you do, you look at this power ranking and maybe it makes sense to you, but I don't. It doesn't make sense to me. I'm looking at this as well, pointing out a few teams. You see the Denver Broncos at 18 and the AFC East division champion from season 27, Buffalo Bills at 19.
Yep.
That just does not sit well with me. I think the New Orleans Saints are a team on the rise. So if I was going to give a team on the rise, maybe a little bit of love in this, I'm going to look at the New York Jets, the New Orleans Saints, let's see, I'm looking down the list as we talk. Tampa Bay Buccaneers had phenomenal drafts. Those 3 teams, and I don't think those 3 teams got the love that they deserve if we're just anticipating something. Because I can only imagine with these ratings, we're anticipating something because it really just doesn't make sense based on the history and what we know right now. And like I said, maybe a little inner Skip Bayless from real life, and they're trying to, make some waves. And here we go. We're talking Bleacher Report on a pregame show for our first doubleheader and the kickoff of season 28. So maybe it's working.
Yeah, and again, as always, you come out with outlandish things. If you're right, everybody looks at you as a genius. If you're wrong, everybody looks at you like Bleacher Report, because this is real wrong. I got a lot of problems with this, but hey, we got a whole lot of season left. You never know what'll happen. So we'll keep an eye. We'll keep putting up these Bleacher Report power rankings and see where the inebriated folks over at BR keep putting teams. All right, let's take a look at the players to watch for this game, Bomber. And of course, on the side of the New York Giants, who else would we talk about but Odell Beckham Jr.? I mean, he is their star receiver. He has been the star receiver in New York. He is a favorite target of Davis Webb. And Odell Beckham is looking to have almost a little bit of a bounce-back season this year, Bomber. I think he was a little disappointed at where his numbers ended up after last year.
Yeah, he came on strong towards the end of the season, Odell Beckham, that is. But, you know, he fell shy of 1,000 yards. He did come on in the last 5. I think he had a suspension towards the end of the season, didn't play his final 3 games. But Odell Beckham has to get back into, I need him at 1,200 to 1,300 yards at least, and I need to see, you know, between 8 to 14 touchdowns from the guy for us to know this team is rocking and rolling. I think last year, you know, you had Davis Webb. He was the NBL season MVP of season 26. I think he had a little bit of a sophomore slump NBL season 27. Not saying he did not play well. I'm just saying the progression wasn't there, and you kind of noticed it with the receiving core. It just wasn't as consistent. Once they can get Odell Beckham going, everything else seems to start falling in place. So I expect a big game from him here early against an aging secondary. That's right, a secondary that's lost Earl Thomas in free agency. They let him go. They lost KJ Wright in free agency. They let him go. Richard Sherman is older. Cam Chancellor is older. This is a thinner secondary. This isn't the old Legion of Boom that we're used to that went to back-to-back Super Bowls and won an NBL season 26. I think they're vulnerable, and I think they're going to get vertical tonight in New York.
Let's look on the other side of the field. And somebody who I think needs to have a big year for the Seattle Seahawks, if they're to get another Super Bowl title, is Russell Wilson. I mean, we know this team can run the ball. We saw what happened when Thomas Rawls went down with an injury. The Seahawks team just didn't quite look the same. They had some running backs come in, fill in very admirably. Zach Zenner and his 5.2 second spin move. That he had a great game in the playoffs on NBL Live. But at the end of the day, there needs to be some sort of compliment. There needs to be some sort of way to get some pressure off of Thomas Rawls. And it starts with Russell Wilson. If they can get the pass game going, look out, because if the defense is guessing as to whether they're throwing the ball or they're running the ball, this Seahawks team turns into a dangerous offensive weapon.
Yeah, I don't know what the problem was with Seattle. They just really looked bad in the regular season. Maybe coming off that Super Bowl, it was that Super Bowl hangover. I'm telling you, it's a real thing. Russell Wilson struggled. His completion percentage was 58%, excuse me. That's under 60%. The average in the NBL is about 62 to 63%. He was at 58, which was worse than the year before when they won the Super Bowl. Only threw for 2,600 yards, had 13 touchdowns, 16 interceptions, QBR of 77.5. This is a guy that was pushing 100 QBR when they won the Super Bowl. 30 sacks last year. He got sacked 30 times. He was hurried a lot. He was a top 5 hurried quarterback in the Madden Bomber League. So that was big. I think he was constantly running around for his life. And I don't think the injury to Thomas Rawls really helped him. Russell seemed like he never got his feet comfortable last season. I hope he bounces back because, yes, he's a game manager in this system, but he is probably, and I don't say that as a knock, he is probably one of the best game managers we've seen in the NBL.
Yeah, well, and he'll need to have a good game today against the New York Giants. Bomber, we are about ready to kick off Season 28, kick off the first half of this doubleheader with this NFC matchup. We got to get your prediction, though. Get your predictions into the chat. We'll be reading those throughout the first quarter. Bomber, who do you like in this game? A battle between two real NFC contenders. These aren't just two teams in the NFC. These are two teams looking to get to the Super Bowl. The Seattle Seahawks looking to get back to that Super Bowl glory. The New York Giants trying to get over that hump. Who's starting out 1-0 today?
Man, this is tough for me because I'm kind of torn. I like the New York Giants. I like their offense. I like their vertical attack. I just don't like that they're on the road to start this season out. I think middle of the season, New York will be a better team. But right now, I'm going with the legacy. I'm going with the back-to-back NFC champion, Seattle Seahawks. I think they have the pedigree, the veteran leadership to get it done. I'm choosing Seattle 28. New York Giants 24. Close game. It's going to be great to watch.
Very close game. Already seen these predictions come in the chat. Lots of close game predictions. There's only one way to find out, folks. Let's get Season 28 underway. Coming up next, it's a battle between two NFC powerhouses looking to get this season off on the right foot. It's the New York Giants and the Seattle Seahawks. It's coming up right now here on NBL Live.
My name is Rex Dixon.
Jake Stein.
Clint from EA Sports.
You're watching NBL.
You're watching the NBL Network. And you're watching the MBLN Network.
Empty backfield for Atkins. He's been dropping back to pass here on 4th down. He's looking deep over the middle. He has a man. It's Brandon Cooks who catches it, makes a man miss.
Oh, that's
Woodard is
touchdown.
dropping back. He's got open over the middle.
Wow. That big playmaker ability
at
as
him
he
go.
finds him again.
Into the end zone. Another
Touchdown.
touchdown. Game 1 of our Week 1 doubleheader is underway, folks. We have a great game, an NFC matchup between the New York Giants and the Seattle Seahawks. Thanks for hanging out with us, folks. I'm out with you. I'm hanging out with my man, Bomber. Bomber, one of the most fun parts of starting out the season is getting to see some of those new names we saw in the NBL rookie draft. We've seen so many rookies have big games on NBL Live, and so many of these young players become household names.
Yeah, absolutely, and they get their name known on NBL Live. This is an opportunity right now, if you're playing and you're a rookie, to get yourself known on the big stage to say, hey, man, that guy's going to be a stud, he's going to be a baller, and he's going to be a kid we're going to have to watch throughout his career.
Underway. It's a rainy day here in Seattle, but the kick is away, and season 28 of the NBL is underway here on NBL Live. As the Seattle Seahawks are going to start with the ball, they're going to be at the 23-yard lines where we get to see Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks team that felt like they had a good chance going into the Super Bowl last year, Bomber. Just wasn't meant to be. They ran into the buzzsaw that was the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, the wheels on the bus go ground and pound for Seattle, and with no Thomas Rawls, they were kind of surprised they went that many rounds without Thomas Rawls. Both halfbacks got hurt. They had to sign Zach Zenner, but they fixed that problem this year. They went into the preseason, they saw DeMarco Murray, and they brought him in for a one-year, $3.94 million deal. Let's see if he takes some load off of Thomas Rawls, and they kind of share the load early in the season.
1st and 10 for those Seattle Seahawks. Russell Wilson is going to be passing it out of the pistol formation, looking over the middle of the field, and can't come up with the catch right at the 35-yard line. It's an incomplete pass on 1st down. This New York Giants defense looking to get off to a good start, Bomber. We know how good their offense is, but the Giants defense, we know ownership has wanted them to play better because they think if their defense plays better, it gets them over the hump and gets them to a Super Bowl.
Absolutely. That's exactly what they need, some secondary play. They had it early. In NBL Season 26, they seemed like they had it all rolling. They had it all figured out. Rogers Cromartie, DRC, Dominique was one of the best corners in the league, and he was actually an MVP candidate in NBL Season 26.
So they're setting up a little screen pass over to the right side. It is complete to Thomas Rawls. Tries to make a man miss, breaks a tackle, gets up to the 28-yard line. 6 yards on the play. Going to bring up a 3rd and 4. Let's get to some of those predictions in the chat. We got Jug saying Giants 31, Seahawks 14. Upset alert, Giants 27-10 from Zionix007. Bomber's #1 fan. Bomber, you got a lot of love in the chat.
Guy?
Yeah, you got a lot
Who
of
is
love
this guy?
Seahawks 17-13, 24-23 Hawks. A lot of close games being predicted. As we have our first big 3rd down of the night. It is a shotgun formation for Russell Wilson on 3rd and 4, dropping back to pass. Looking over the middle of the field.
Oh,
Look,
wow.
he has a man wide open.
Baby.
It's complete. And the first big play of the season. It's the Seattle Seahawks. The home run ball from Russell Wilson. 74 yards for a touchdown.
Yeah, you find yourself right there playing cover 2 invert in the middle of the field. That is actually a Seattle Seahawks special, a triple S. This is a team that knows that defense, and when they see that, as they barely get in the extra point, it looks like there might be an injured kicker on that play. I don't know.
That was an ugly kick.
I'm speculating.
That was an ugly kick.
Wide open. I mean, that's a broken coverage against the defense that essentially is trying to play the sticks on a 3rd and short. You run a cover 2 invert, you give up that seam over the top, and that's just too much speed for Seattle. And I said Russell Wilson was a game manager, but that doesn't mean he can't make the big-time throws.
Yeah, and how about the play calling on that one, Bomber? Recognizing how the Giants defense likes to play on third down, especially third and short, and taking that shot over the top, knowing it's early in the game, and it paid off. 7-0 Seahawks. And can we talk about how beautiful of a throw that was from Russell Wilson? He led that receiver perfectly and made sure he didn't miss him wide open down the middle of the field.
Yeah, the conditions right now, you got a rainy field, a wet field, a windy field. But, man, you can't overthrow a guy like Tyler Lockett. And you know who should know that best? Bananas. He signed him in the previous Madden. We called him the $20 million man.
Yep.
And yet he's getting it done against his former owner right now.
1st and 10 for the New York Giants. They're going to hand it off to Petway, trying to find something up the middle, and the Seattle defense gets off to a good start as it was the tight end Wilson. Just got banged up. It's weird to see an injury on a little kick block there. Not a whole lot happened there, but apparently a little bit of a boo-boo for the backup tight end.
Yeah, man, he's got to just, throw some dirt on it and get over it. That's not an opportunity to get hurt. You're just out there. You're lucky you made the roster. You can't get injured on plays like that, or we won't be able to rely on you. That's how you end up in that free agency pool.
Yeah, and you talk about one of the ways to get the season off to a good start, hitting a big play on your first drive, getting the crowd into this game. And now the New York Giants have to respond. Shotgun formation for Davis Webb. 3 wide receivers out there, 2 over to the left and 1 over to the right. It's going to be Davis Webb dropping back to pass here on 2nd and 10. Rush coming right at the middle. He looks over the middle to the tight end Ingram, who catches it at the first down marker. Give him the first down, 11 yards on the play. Davis Webb. Bomber, this is a guy who took over for Eli Manning and hasn't looked back. The New York Giants love what they have in this kid.
Absolutely. As he goes and attacks Bobby Wagner, most people won't do that. They stay away from the 29-year-old superstar from Utah State, but he attacks him with his confident tight end, Evan Ingram. And, man, I love Davis Webb. I love what he can do out there, and he can make all the throws.
Bunch formation to the left in the pistol formation is Davis Webb. He's got Petway behind him, Ingram on the right side. They're going to hand it off to Petway, who has a hole up the middle. He has a first down nearing midfield. He'll be taken down to the 49-yard line. Real patient run there from Petway. Bomber, we've seen this from him all last season, really burst onto the seam. He's got great vision and can really find those holes. He's not too overexcited to get to the line, and that gets him some of these longer runs.
Yeah, he broke all the records in Miami. He went to the University of Miami, the U. This guy could do it all. He was a late first-round pick. He was actually projected to go about the middle of the pack of the first round in the NBL Season 27 rookie draft. It didn't happen, and the Giants are happy about it. They absolutely love this kid.
And on 1st and 10, they try to get Petway going again, and the Seattle Seahawks defensive line gets some early penetration. Bring him down for only a 1-yard gain, and that's Bobby Wagner. Bomber, this Seattle Seahawks, the secondary is certainly aging, but the front seven, one of the best front seven in the NBL. They know how to get in the backfield, and that's why it's so tough to run against this team.
Yeah, it feels like Bobby Wagner's been around forever. He's only 29 years old. He looks like he has 3 to 4 more years left in him, and this guy's everywhere. They call him American Express out there. Everywhere you want to be, especially if you're a defensive coordinator and he's on your team.
That's better than
you see what I did there?
That's better than being Diners Club. That's not accepted anywhere. I don't even know who still has a Diners Club card. 2nd and 9, looking for the corner route. Sterling Shepard, about 4 yards out of bounds. That pass was going, so that wasn't going to work out. Going to bring up a 3rd and 9, and New York certainly wants to convert this one. This is a New York Giants team, Bomber, known as a very explosive offense that has actually slowed down a little bit with Davis Webb. Odell Beckham not quite getting down the field like he could last year. I know that's something they want to improve upon with OBJ this year.
Yeah, they want to get him touches. So they want to get him the ball underneath to kind of bring the defense in and then allow him to get over the top, because everyone seems to be playing Odell Beckham over the top, especially in the last couple seasons after his breakout year in NBL Season 26. Here comes the pressure, and down goes Davis Webb.
Goes Webb. McDowell up the middle. That's about as good a man coverage as you'll see, Bomber. I think they might have heard you call them aging in that secondary, because at the end of the day, everyone was locked down, and the New York Giants will be forced to punt this one away.
A good pass rushing offensive line for the Giants too. Just kind of off to a slow start. Didn't seem like they really got comfortable out there. But I said the conditions favor Seattle, and this 12th man is the real deal
12th,
in Seattle.
13th,
I'm telling
14th
you.
man, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It feels like that. I thought we were playing 11 on 11. It feels like 22 on 11 when you come to Seattle.
Yeah, this is one of the hardest places to play, CenturyLink Field in Seattle. Just one of the architectural marvels. If you haven't taken a good look at it, you should, because it's built perfectly. Really keeps all that sound inside the stadium, and that's why it's the loudest stadium in the league. It's Russell Wilson under center here on 1st and 10. He's going to hand it off to Thomas Rawls. Trucks a ghost, gets past the line. He's going to get up to the 32-yard line, 9 yards on the play. Rawls' season ended early last year with injury, and we know he wants to stay healthy because he was on pace to have a fantastic year if he kept it going.
Yeah, maybe a little paranoia for Thomas Rawls. He got a couple really nasty hits last season. We called a couple of those games, and it said Thomas Rawls, he can take a beating. Well, eventually it wore down, and the engine broke down for Thomas Rawls. So hopefully they bring in DeMarco Murray throughout this game and kind of, take a little bit of the load off for Thomas Rawls. Get him about 75%, and he's healthy for the playoffs.
Hand off to Thomas Rawls once again, who once again trucking Casper the Friendly Ghost. Gets up to the 40-yard line. First down for Rawls. This offensive line for Seattle playing fantastic early, opening up some huge lanes for Thomas Rawls.
Yeah, trucking the air right there. Again, back-to-back, becoming a reoccurring theme for Thomas Rawls. Maybe he gets some skill in himself a little bit and finds himself early in this NBL Season 28.
1st and 10 for the Seattle Seahawks, who already have a little bit of mojo going in this game. The deep bomb, 74 yards from Wilson to Lockett. Got him on the board, 7-0 on their first drive. A nice stop by the defense, and now Seattle up to the 40-yard line. Shotgun formation for Russell Wilson. 3 wide receivers, 2 to the right, 1 to the left, 2 in the backfield with Russell the Love Muscle Wilson. As he takes the snap here on 1st down, looking, the rush is coming. Wilson turns around and chucks this one over to the right side. Real smart play to throw that one away. Maybe did it a little too early, Bomber. One of the big mistakes a quarterback can make, and you saw it there, is when you start moving to one side, turning back towards the rush. He tried to turn around, and he saw 2 defenders in his face. Just had to chuck that one away.
Yeah, he threw that ball away, though, very impressively. That might have been the fastest throwaway I've seen on NBL Live, maybe in the NBL as a whole. That was very quick across the field. Definitely some arm strength from Russell Wilson.
Pass to the flat for Wilson. It's complete to Rawls, who breaks tackle, goes out of bounds. Flag down on the play, and it's going to be a hold on the offensive line. They're going to accept that one, back him up to a 2nd and 20. And we always keep a close eye on penalties, Bomber. You don't see them too often, but at the end of the day, when they do happen, they have a huge impact on the game. And this really stops the drive. We'll see what Seattle can do, 2nd and 20, but it had a lot of momentum.
Yeah, they did. And a holding like that puts you back 10 yards, and it puts you just in a really awkward situation as far as down and distance, especially on your own 30 like this. Let's see if they play conservative or they stay aggressive in this rain.
2nd and 20, shotgun formation for Russell Wilson. Looks like it's going to be a draw play to Thomas Rawls. Runs into his own blocker, but he spins off him, shakes off another tackle. He'll get 11 on the play up to the 41. Cut it back to a 3rd and 9, and you got to love the call there, Bomber. Knowing in these conditions, knowing that New York was probably playing a relatively light box, give the ball to Thomas Rawls, let him do work, and cut it back to a 3rd and much more manageable.
It just looks like they're trying to tackle concrete out there. It's just moving concrete, the way Thomas Rawls maneuvers, and they just bounce right off him. It truly is amazing. He might be, this is like, what, the 3rd game I've called of him? He might be the best halfback in the NBL, pound for pound, and he's probably the best that people hardly talk about as well.
Wilson,
and watch him block in the pass right there. 3rd and 9.
What a great block. Wilson, nobody open, rolls out to the left side. Looks like he's going to take off. Steps back, he's throwing it back over the middle. It is complete. Near the 1st down marker. Does he have enough? He does not. Comes back over the line. And it's going to bring up a 4th and inches, and the Seattle Seahawks going to be forced to punt. Bomber Russell Wilson keeping that one alive. Good blocking up front. I think I would have liked to see him take off there. It looked like he had a lane with his legs to get the 1st down. Instead, he does keep his eyes downfield, and unfortunately with this punt going out of the back of the end zone, it's going to make it only a 30-yard punt, net punt, and that really doesn't flip the field at all. A tough end of the drive for Seattle.
Well, in my Project Fat response, I will say most definitely should have took off. I mean, Russell Wilson, when he gets to the line of scrimmage, he can't be indecisive. I saw indecisiveness right there. Usually don't see it. If he would have taken off, I think he easily clears that 1st down marker as they run a nice little misdirection counter, only to pick up a few. Nice tackle there by number 93 on Petaway. I'm very impressed early on with this Seattle Seahawks defense. They don't look like they've really lost anybody, and this is a team that lost KJ Wright, a 90 overall outside linebacker. They also lost Earl Thomas. What's Earl Thomas, a 99? I mean, 2 phenomenal players on this team.
Yeah, real nice players that they lost in the offseason, but Seattle reloads. They don't rebuild. As we're going to get to the end of the first quarter, Seattle up 7-0 in this game, Bomber, but looking at the scoreboard, it feels like a much bigger game than that. It seems like Seattle completely in control early.
Yeah, it looks like they have the momentum. If they would have picked up that first down on that scramble and they would have put some more points on the board, I would probably say they're probably going to have an opportunity to get a turnover from this Giants team, because when New York seems to get down multiple scores, you see them get a little too aggressive. I like this team to be a vertical attacking team. Evan Ingram, Odell Beckham Jr., Sterling Shepard, they have these weapons, but you don't want to become predictable, and I think that's what they become when they get down with this young quarterback, Davis Webb, under center, so I'm glad to see they're only down a score.
2nd and 8 for the New York Giants, shotgun formation. 2 to each side for Webb. He'll drop back to pass here on 2nd and 8. Blitz coming. Free rusher. Down goes Webb. Second sack of the day as Drakeford gets into the backfield and brings down Davis Webb, cutting it back to a 3rd and 17 in Seattle. If you are playing the Seattle Seahawks, you got to know they're going to come after the quarterback. They've already gotten to Webb twice, and we're barely into the second quarter.
Yeah, a little overload blitz to the left side. And I see Davis Webb picked it up correctly. He drifts to the right, buys himself a couple more seconds, but really doesn't understand that the blitz is coming fast and furious, and he had to get rid of the ball.
Now 3rd and long, 3rd and 17. Webb in the shotgun. He splits Shepard out wide left. Beckham in the slot on the left side. 2 over to the right as Webb's dropping back to pass. Looking. And ball's on the ground. It's recovered by, I think, Davis Webb. Picked up his own fumble, but another sack. Drakeford once again getting his 2nd sack of the day. Bomber, that was almost as disastrous of a drive as you could imagine for the New York Giants.
Yeah, absolutely. But luckily, they don't turn the ball over, and now they're punting, because that fumble from Davis Webb in that position would have been a punch-in touchdown for Thomas Rawls. Maybe even we see a little bit of DeMarco Murray maybe as Tyler Lockett gets to the outside and does what he can do with those wheels. And now you're looking at what do you think, 20 yards, and they're already in field goal range. And as I said earlier, going up 2 scores against this New York Giants team, I'm speaking from their pertinent past history, as they say in the medical field. This team gets a little shaky with Davis Webb under center when they go down 2 scores. So this is a very important drive for this New York Giants defense.
Russell Wilson comes out of the huddle. He's going to be under center. He's got Rawls in the backfield. 2 wide receivers, 1 tight end on the right side of that formation. 1st and 10, 5:06 to go. Great field position for the Seattle Seahawks. They're on the 46-yard line, just shy of midfield as Russell Wilson changes up the play. He's going to drop back to pass here on 1st and 10, and he has a man wide open underneath. It is complete. He's got the first down and more up to the 40-yard line. Wilson just taking what the defense gives him. It was man coverage, and with these speedy wide receivers in Seattle, those underneath drag routes are going to be tough to cover for the New York Giants.
Yeah, that was a nice pass there to Darba, who really just broke out kind of as a star in Seattle. Many around the NBL aren't talking about him too much, but this guy's a kind of a superstar legend in Seattle. They think big things of him. He had 49 catches, 615 yards, 6'2", only 25 years old with that fast development trait. He could definitely be something very quickly for the Seattle Seahawks offense.
Yeah, Amar Darbo's certainly a great player. So the handoff is to Thomas Rawls over the right side. And Bomber, that's what Rawls, we talked about. It's like trying to tackle concrete. That was a play that there was no room over there. They got to Rawls early, and he still falls forward for a 4-yard gain, which is great on 1st down.
Yeah, because now you're in a 2nd and 6. You can do a lot of things with this from this position. You're in field goal range. The important thing is not to take a sack and go backwards, especially with this wind and this rain falling heavily down on these players.
Bunch formation to the right for Wilson in the shotgun as Seattle's going to take a timeout. Bomber, I mean, we're sitting here at 4:25 to go here in the second quarter. These are 2 teams, I mean, both looking to get to the Super Bowl this year. And I just saw the stat. The Seahawks have 135 yards of total offense. The New York Giants so far, -5. And
wow,
that is not a great start. That's not the start I don't think the New York Giants were looking for.
They're only down 7, though. So we can take a positive from this. When you're a vertical offense, you can get all your yards in 2 to 3 drives. And I think New York is definitely capable of doing that. So I wouldn't count them out just yet. But I think this game is playing heavily into the favor of Seattle Seahawk football.
That one didn't go really anywhere for Thomas Rawls as they hand it off to him up the middle. Not a whole lot there. Bomber, I've seen that sort of double stack formation, one of those more gimmicky formations. The Seattle Seahawks like using it, changing up pace, but it turns out there just aren't a whole lot of plays the Seahawks that run out of it, and the New York Giants were fully prepared for the read option that was coming.
Yeah, Seattle's kind of a funny team offensively. They'll go into the trick book if they have to And they'll do it consistently, and they'll show you this, show you this, show you this, and then just when you think you have it figured out, they'll throw a little wrench in your plans. But right there, it looks like the Giants read the scouting report and were over that interception right there.
DRC!
Right on cue. That's DRC, baby.
Oh, boy.
The former NBL MVP nominee from season 26 getting it done. What an interception. We'd all love to have a player like that on our team.
Well, Andy, is he? He was up there for the record for the most interceptions in the season. Did he end up getting it?
That's a great question. You know, I'm not on this side of the trivia. The network director, don't put me on that spot. I'm on the other side. I'm asking the questions when I don't know, because I'm supposed to know it all.
Sure.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know. Sadly, that's my answer. I know it was close. I can check it. Does anybody know what the record was? I think he actually did break it. I feel like I remember seeing that.
He did. But, you know.
But I don't know.
Look, we pay attention. Come on, guys.
But next time, let's pass that to the audience. Not make
obviously.
the knowing all bomber not know. Got to know right here. Watch Odell Beckham there in the slide. Seattle didn't like that. Notice Odell Beckham on that play.
Yes, he did break the record. In season 27, 15
and how many
interceptions. 15.
Absolutely phenomenal. He was a top 5 nominee for the MVP. I think he finished 3rd on my ballot when I voted. Man, just a crazy impact. They got one high safety, so that slot post on the left side should be dead right here, as it looks like it's potentially an offsides.
Yeah, that cuts it back down to a 2nd and 3, and now the playbook opens wide open for the New York Giants. They really didn't do anything, but let's go back to that interception as DRC made a great play getting over to that ball. But, I mean, another drive that Seattle had some momentum offensively, and it's another drive they came away with no points. If this comes down to a close game, we're going to be looking back at these drives and going, Seattle really missed out on opportunities. Now, 2nd and 3 for the New York Giants. 3 wide receivers, 2 to the right, 1 to the left. 2 in the backfield for Davis Webb. Petway to his left, Ingram to his right. As Davis Webb surveying the defense, he'll run a play action pass, looking over to the right side, trying to find Petway out of the backfield, and
no.
Ball's out. That was really just a whole comical event there. A couple trucks of nobody, missed tackles by the Seahawks, then the fumble that goes out of bounds. I think both teams probably would just like to forget that play and move on.
He had 2 hit sticks that whiffed at the air, and then a truck stick that whiffed at the air, and a final hit stick that finally landed for a fumble. So maybe Seattle's onto something. They say this guy's going to fumble when he gets the ball in open space, and they were willing to sell out for it. And I mean, the fumble did happen, so you can't knock him for trying.
1st and 10 for Davis Webb as he drops back to pass on 1st down rushes. Coming Ingram catches it underneath. It's complete, and he'll be taken down right at the sticks. Let's see if they get enough. They're going to come just short of 2nd and inches. But once again, this New York Giants offensive line is struggling to keep this pass rush out of the face of Davis Webb.
Yeah, and that's the problem. When you can get pressure on them and you have ball hawks in the secondary, that's when trouble starts happening for Davis Webb. Let's see if he can adjust this line and kind of settle down.
They run a little counter play with Petway. It does get enough for the 1st down, 3 yards on the play up to the 39. 7-0 your score right now, folks. Broadcast number 150 here on the NBL Network for NBL Live. We appreciate each and every one of you tuning in. I'm OSU. I'm hanging out with my man, the Commissioner Bomber. Again, if you want to stay up to date on all the news and notes from around the NBL, go follow us on Twitter at Bomber League. It's where we post all of our game times, game matchups. If we change any of those NBL Live matchups, podcast, stuff like that, all gets posted to that NBL Network Twitter, or just hit that subscribe button so you know each and every time we go live. 1st and 10 for Davis Webb. And the New York Giants, he drops back to pass on 1st down, looking underneath to the tight end Ingram. Ingram breaks a tackle, breaks another one. And right now, the Seattle Seahawks defense, they're doing a great job of getting to the receiver and getting to the quarterback, having some trouble finishing the play.
Yeah, open field tackles. It doesn't seem like, a team that should be primed and ready as they're tackling Thomas Rawls on a weekly event here into practice. You think they'd be making these open field tackles just a little bit better, but it seems like they're just not. They're not wrapping up, and they're not showing that discipline and those fundamentals needed to make those kind of plays.
Webb dropping back to pass, looks underneath to Stokes as 2 missed tackles, and now Stokes has a lot of room, but Stokes helps out the defense by running into the only guy downfield. It's going to be a 1st down for the Giants. We hit the 2-minute warning. The rain, I don't know if it's playing mind games with both these teams, but we've seen some questionable decisions from both the defense and the ball carrier.
Yeah, right there. I think Stokes got a little stoked. He caught the ball in open field. He saw guys flying and diving around him. He could have probably walked to the end zone, but instead, he decides to cut it back up midfield, and he gets tackled. That was a big missed opportunity for the young kid.
Nonetheless, they're up at the 28-yard line and in business as Stokes coming in motion. 2 over to the left. Beckham alone on the right side has yet to have a catch today. And so far, it's been Davis Webb and Evan Ingram as he has another catch up to the 17-yard line. Another first down for the New York Giants. Webb working underneath almost exclusively. 6 completions so far, Bomber. 4 to the big tight end.
Yeah, NBL Bleacher Report is reporting Evan Ingram had a great offseason and is expected to take a huge leap this season, according to the Giants coaching staff. Now, I believe it. Now, I'm seeing it on the field right now. Odell Beckham, I wouldn't say he's a decoy right now, but they're locking into Odell Beckham, and it's allowing Evan Ingram to get open underneath and get open down the field as we see him once again on cue, picks up a first down.
Yeah, another first down. They're using him, and that's his 5th catch of the first half.
Absolutely. You know, you got to use a target like that. He's such a weapon. Evan Ingram has those, vertical athletic ability to really just fit perfectly into this system. I think he's kind of an Eric Ebron, probably a little bit better, and he's definitely a talent that you have to find space for and find plays where he can benefit and really get down the field.
First and goal as Davis Webb driving back to pass. Here the rush is coming, and Webb will chuck that bad boy out of bounds. That'll bring up a 2nd and goal as we're nearing halftime. Bomber, I don't know if you noticed this. We've got a huge weekend here on the NBL Network. We've got doubleheader action today. Tomorrow night, I believe the Commissioner Corners podcast live tomorrow.
Wow.
And then we got Highly Debatable live on Sunday.
Oh, wow.
And then I believe NBL Live will be either Sunday night or Monday. Non-stop action here on the network.
Absolutely. We got some great stuff. Make sure you guys are keeping it up. Get your calendar clean. Your wife's telling you to do this or do that. Get it done in the morning so you can hang out with NBL Live and kick it with us. And maybe we'll be giving away some prizes this weekend as well.
Yeah, absolutely. We certainly appreciate each and every one of you who tunes into all of our NBL Network shows. And if it's your first time joining us, just tool around the network. We got a lot of shows on there. Original programming such as the Building the Franchise series, Highly Debatable, the Commissioner Corners podcast. Lots of great stuff here on the network. So feel free to tool around, but do that after the game because we got a big one so far, a close game. We got another one coming up at 8:30. 2nd and goal for the New York Giants. Stokes coming in motion. Looks like they're going to try this little jet sweep with Stokes. The edge. Oh, what a hit at the 1-yard line. And everybody gets up from that one. An injury on the backside of the field. But Bobby Wagner laying the lumber at the goal line. No, sir. You're going to have to try again.
Wow, Stokes, I kind of feel bad for him. So he was in an open field, and all he had to do was keep going straight. Coaching staff got all over him and ripped him up and said, just run straight, run where you're supposed to run, and he did it there. And that wasn't the answer for that play. You run away from Bobby Wagner.
3rd and goal to toss play on 3rd down, trying to get to the outside. Petway is going to tiptoe his way into the end zone. The New York Giants are on the board. Bomber, it's easy to see this stuff up here, but we know the New York Giants. We know how much they love the outside run, especially on the goal line. It seemed like the Seattle Seahawks put a whole lot of guys in the box there and were relatively unprepared for that outside toss.
Yeah, you get in a game after all this film you watch and you think you know a team, you know what they like to do, but then that pass play and then the end around, I think it kind of just confused them. It was a lot of plays in a small amount of time, and I think Seattle's defensive coordinator just kind of overthought it. Was 2 steps ahead, and that's what the spin is in Jacksonville as well. They think they're probably 5 steps ahead, which is too far ahead, actually putting them behind their opponent. Now, you got to think about that one. That's some knowledge right there.
That's a mind game right there. That is
You want to be steps ahead, but not too far ahead, because then you're actually behind. And you should have just stayed with what got you here.
Is that like when you head east, eventually you're just going to end up on the West Coast because you're just...
It's bomber logic. Yeah, exactly. Absolutely.
Well, Russell Wilson rolling out here on 1st and 10. And Russell Wilson really wanted to take a sack there. He seemed completely convinced that the sack was coming as he stood there. Nobody was open, and he did nothing to get away with it. 9-yard loss, and Bomber, I don't know if you felt that. Feels like the momentum has shifted monumentally in this game.
Yeah, that's twice. So we've been talking about momentum as this game goes on at home. It seemed like Seattle was in complete control. They had an opportunity to pick up a first down. Russell Wilson didn't do it. And now you gave the New York Giants a couple drives, and now they've scored, and it looks like the momentum's flipped back the other way.
Thomas Rawls, well, he goes for 3 yards, had a big hole on the left side, and decided to take the tougher route through the defender. It's going to bring up a 3rd and 16. New York taking a timeout. They may get the ball back here as they have a 3rd and long. Bomber, we're hearing some chatter in the chat, and again, I have to quench these rumors. No, we have not decided to switch the name to Highly Debatable. We have a lot of marketing talks, but that is not true. It has not been changed yet. That is only a rumor.
That'd be a nice parody to the show, though. A different show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Of a guy dressed up. in that insane best Sonny Weaver impression. I mean, potentially in the future, once we get to that 1 million subscriber mark, it might happen. You never know.
I assume SNL is going to love our stuff and want to parody it eventually. 3rd and 16, shotgun formation for Russell Wilson. He surveys the defense, changing up the play. He's got Thomas Rawls to his right, 3 wide receivers, 2 to the left, 1 to the right. As he slips, but he recovers, and he's going to take a deep shot. This one basically a punt, and nobody comes up with that. Well, here's the thing. I hate that call, Bomber, because you now punt the ball back to the New York Giants into the wind, and you give them 40 seconds and 2 timeouts.
Yeah, absolutely. You got Thomas Rawls in that situation. Why not run it? He might even do something crazy and pick up this game, because I think they were completely playing the pass there. I think he could have ran a counter or something to the outside, maybe even another draw. You had an opportunity there if you were Seattle, as I think a penalty's coming here on the Seattle Seahawks, which is going to give up even more yards, and they're nearly in field goal range. So right now, if you would have told me 3 minutes ago in game that this team, this New York Giants team, would have the ball right now with an opportunity, with how many yards do they have? -5 after the first quarter, to take the lead right now, I mean, that's just crazy. That just shows you how up and down these games are when you have 2 competing teams that are evenly matched.
Oh, we all know what's coming here. Yeah, it's the PAFK quick, and the Seattle Seahawks were firmly prepared for that one as they sacked Davis Webb back at the 49-yard line, 7-yard loss. Bummer, I'm a little confused because on that punt they got called for a 15-yard face mask, and he got tackled pretty firmly around the waist. How did the hands get up to the face mask area?
Well, he wears his helmet on his butt.
That's a good place to get. You'll get the face mask.
And that's how he got there. A little play action again is almost down goes
Davis Webb
Webb.
shakes off the tackler and finds Sterling Stepper down the field to the 26-yard line. He got inbounds.
Wow.
Davis Webb saying no, thank you, sir.
See, that's Davis Webb we saw from NBL Season 26. He was the NBL MVP. You can find that on 365.maddenbomberleague.com. But right there, if he would have taken that sack, if that sack would have happened, they're out of field goal range. That whole talk about the lead is done, but this young man continues to make it happen. Davis Webb, number 5, the starting quarterback, the franchise quarterback for your New York Football Giants.
1st and 10 for the Giants. 30 seconds to go. 1 timeout remaining. Webb dropping back to pass. Blitz picked up nicely. Looking over the middle of the field, and Odell Beckham gets his first catch of the day at the 7-yard line. They're going to hurry to the line. They're actually going to use that timeout. They looked like they were going to hurry, and then they decided that sprinting back to the line, that's a lot of work. We're tired. We could use a Gatorade. 1st and goal for the Giants. You know they want to punch this one in. And what a change in momentum we've seen in the second quarter, Bomber.
Yeah, absolutely. Odell Beckham actually has been working on that catch. That's what the offensive coordinator calls getting in and getting down. They want him to get in the holes of those zone and catch the ball and get down to limit the hits on Odell Beckham, because they're trying to have an extended career for this guy who's arguably the best wide receiver in the Madden Bomber League. 1st
and goal, Webb rolling out to the right side, trying to find somebody, and he had Sterling Shepard open and just couldn't put the ball in the money. Maybe the elements coming into effect there. It's going to bring up a 2nd and goal.
Yeah, he extends the play with his feet again, as he's done it 2 or 3 times on this drive. And that's a throw that, you know, he probably wants back. I don't know how much he'd pay to get that one back, but that's a big-time throw that I think Evan Ingram punches in, and they get a touchdown. They go up 7 here. But now they got to try to punch it in here and make sure they at least come away with 3.
Webb dropping back to pass on 2nd and goal. Rolling out to the left side. He's going to have to chuck this one away. The Seahawks defense buckling down, needing to get a stop here. 3rd and goal, Bomber. You have no timeout, so you can't really run the ball. So basically, what are you telling Davis Webb? Don't take a sack and chuck it out of the back of the end zone if you have to?
Yeah, back of the end zone, back of the end zone, back of the end zone. Do not throw this ball unless it's in the end zone. And if you have to throw it away, I need it out the back of the end zone. We need to make sure that we make a play here that benefits us and not allows the clock to keep running, because we don't have any timeouts. Both teams in desperate mode right there. Oh, he had A wide open.
Oh,
wow.
That was a 1-read play. They were not looking anywhere else but for Stokes in the back of the end zone. Instead, they're going to punt this one away. Bomber, a lot of people in the chat talking about, the New York Giants playing with fire on that drive. It did sort of feel like a splash play was incoming. It's not just because the rain is falling.
Yeah, you see Davis Webb play like that. That's what we all got to witness when he was a rookie in NBL Season 26. He pretty much took the league by storm. He captured their first division title in the NFC East, and he did it again last year, but that rookie season was pretty magical. It's been his best year to start, but those kind of plays we became accustomed to, and we expected it. We didn't see it much last year, but he looks healthy this year. Maybe a nagging injury from Davis Webb kind of sidelined him from being the player that he was as a rookie, but he looks fresh right now, and I'm really impressed with what I've seen from the kid.
Our very own Timbo in the chat saying high pass, and that's a touchdown. I'm not so sure about that. It looked like that fade was double covered and bracketed.
I think he's talking about he's talking about the tight end, Evan Ingram on the scene.
I don't even know if you had a high pass. I think you had an under.
Yeah, that was so open.
A little pump fake. They're going to take a shot here. Russell Wilson rolling out to the left side and throws it to the New York Giants. That's going to take us to halftime.
I wonder if you could actually just peg somebody on that team, like an offensive line
Sit
coach.
down, baby!
Just hit him.
You're done! No, I'm sorry.
Throw some heat over there. Did he get away with that?
Well, I don't know if you've paid attention to college football at all, but there's a controversy going on in the Big 12 right now. When Oklahoma played TCU, Baker Mayfield, as the TCU team ran around the back of the end zone, Baker Mayfield absolutely pegged one of the players in the head. Just rocketed, not anywhere near his receiver he was warming up with because it was right before the game. And then TCU came out and said that they're going to start pegging Oklahoma players. So the answer is, yeah.
Gray area.
Yeah, go for it. Why not? The refs aren't on the field yet. Go nuts. 1st and 10. Davis Webb dropping back to pass, rolling out to the right side, and he's going to take off, try to get the first down. And he will be about 2 yards short, 8 yards on the play. Smart play there by Davis Webb. The Seattle Seahawks pass rush still getting after the quarterback, but not quite the success they were having in the first quarter.
No, it's not. And right now is an opportunity for the New York Giants to extend this lead that they have and continue to put pressure on this aging secondary. They came out all, full of fire early in this game, but I'm starting to see the holes here in the Seattle Seahawks defense early in this season.
2nd and 2, 3 wide receivers for Davis Webb. Petway in the backfield. 2nd down, looks like it's going to be a handoff to Petway, who cuts it up the middle. He's going to have the first down, and he's going to be wrestled down at the 37-yard line. Give him 4 on the play. Petway, 8 carries, 26 yards, and a touchdown. Not a whole lot going for the Giants in terms of the ground game, but we do know this New York Giants team, they're going to be a pass-first team as long as they have Odell Beckham out there.
Yeah, and Petaway does what he's supposed to do there. He makes nice reads, shows nice patience, and picks up the first down. What they want from this running game is just to keep the chains moving and then come in when they're inside the 5 and give them an opportunity to get points on the board. And I think he's done a great job doing that early in this season for Petaway.
1st and 10 for the Giants. They're on the 37-yard line. 3 wide receivers out there. Beckham alone to the left side, 2 over to the right. It's a play-action pass. Webb gets hit, but finds Ingram over the middle. First down, New York Giants. Davis Webb taking a big hit in the backfield, but delivers a strike to Ingram. Oh, I believe that's his 6th catch on the day. 6 catches for 76 yards.
That could be the quickest release I've seen in quite a long time. What about you, OSU? That release right there, getting hit, was pretty phenomenal. That's some exceptional franchise quarterback stuff right there for Davis Webb.
Petway taken down right at the line of scrimmage. He'll get a yard on the play. Yeah, and that was just one of those where I think instinct kicks in, especially for a quarterback as talented as Davis Webb. The pressure was coming. He knew he was going to take a big hit, and he almost just uses his wrist and just sort of flicks it forward. And what's so impressive is he flicked it down the field 25 yards and finds Evan Ingram. But let's talk about, once again, we're seeing this New York Giants team making a lot of catches in front of the coverage of Seattle.
Yeah, you're seeing that, but they're doing that get in and get down mentality. A lot of possession cats later in this game, and it's kind of working out for them. It's kind of allowing them to beat this zone and find those soft spots where Davis Webb can put the ball right on the money with the best of them.
2nd and 10 for Webb and the Giants. He's going to drop back to pass. Moving around the pocket, he looks over to the right side, finds Stokes wide open on the dig route. It's complete to the 27-yard line. Another big hit over the middle. So far, though, Seattle, they've been known at times to be a bend-don't-break defense bomber. So far, they're pretty much just breaking because they've been letting the New York Giants run all over them since the end of the first quarter.
Yeah, they have. And what about this kid, Ben Stokes, rookie? He was a 2nd-round pick from the University of Illinois, the Illini, 6'4", 232 pounds. He's got some wheels on him, but I didn't realize he was this agile and he had hands like this.
Webb rolling out to the left side. Webb is going to be taken down at the 30-yard line. Drakeford again in the backfield. Who is this guy getting in the backfield for the Seattle Seahawks? He has 2.5 sacks on the day, and he is breaking through the line each and every time. It looks completely overmatched to deal with this guy.
Yeah, when the pressure comes, it comes fast and furious. I think Davis Webb needs to keep his head on a swivel just a little bit more and try to use his legs to extend the play and maybe even use his legs to take off. There's been a couple of opportunities where I see the defense coming on an overload blitz. He does what he's supposed to do. He steps to the side, slides, buys himself another second or two. But if it's not there, you got to go. You know, as a quarterback, you had to have that internal clock go off, and you got to go. And I'm kind of seeing it with Davis Webb, but not like I was seeing it in NBL Season 26.
Little screen pass over to the right side for Petway, and he'll be taken down at the 28-yard line. DeMarco Drakeford, he was a pick by the Seahawks last season out of Texas A&M, 6'2", 263. Last season, he had 11 sacks and a forced fumble, 26 total tackles. And I know this is a guy they've been developing. That 11 sack number certainly promising for a linebacker. And he has proven it today against this New York Giants offense, being all over the field. 2.5 sacks already. Shotgun formation for Davis Webb here. Big 3rd and 11. Seahawks needing a stop. It's going to be Webb dropping back to pass on 3rd down. Rush is coming, looking deep over the middle. It's intercepted. That one read perfectly. And he's going to take this one up to the 16-yard line. Gordon with the interception. No more Earl Thomas in the back, Bomber. No problem for the Seattle Seahawks as Gordon's able to jump the route and get a big turnover inside the 30-yard line.
The last pick in the 2nd round from LSU. Yes, there was some controversy around this. This guy was a first-round talent, 6'2", 222 pounds, 23 years old. DeMarco Gordon, he's got the speed, the athleticism, and the coverage ability. Why did he drop to late in the 2nd round? Character issues. That's what happened with this guy. And Seattle said, you know, we'll take a chance on him. We'll bring him in. We need to replace Earl Thomas anyways. And it looks like it's paying dividends early in this NBL Season 28 kickoff.
All right, so you ready for a fun fact here? I'm gonna throw one of these fun facts out to you, Bomber.
Okay.
Did you know
what do we got?
The Seattle Seahawks have the most DeMarcos of any team in the NBL? 3 of them. DeMarco Murray, DeMarco Gordon, and DeMarco Drakeford.
2 of those DeMarcos are actually really relevant, and DeMarco Murray might be relevant with the injuries that's been happening to Thomas Rawls over the last couple seasons. As down goes Russell Wilson. What a sack there by Eli Apple, hitting the edge.
Well, that's the New York Giants. That is a bananas staple, Bomber. The man blitz on 2nd down, man blitz early downs, 3rd downs. They like to come after the quarterback with those man blitzes and leave their cornerbacks on an island. Eli Apple able to get around the edge there. Now a big 3rd and 16. 5 wide receivers out there for Russell Wilson. Bunch 3 to the right, 2 over to the left, and another blitz coming. Wilson rolling over to the right side. He looks over the middle of the field and straight up overthrows Jimmy Graham, and Floyd intercepts it, and he might go to the end zone. Touchdown, New York Giants! Just when Davis Webb makes his first mistake of the season, the defense says, don't worry, big dog, we'll pick you up and get in the end zone as the New York Giants extend their lead. The first real bad throw we've seen from Russell Wilson, and it's a disastrous result as the New York Giants are going to go up. They're looking to go up 10. Wow, this kicker, they're playing along the edges here, but it gets up and it's good. 17-7, Bomber. That throw, it is pretty hard to overthrow the big tight end, Jimmy Graham.
Yeah, and I'm not gonna. If he comes to the sideline right now, Russell, and I'm sitting there as the O coordinator, I'm the quarterback coach. I'm gonna sit down, Russell, and say, hey man, you made the right read. It just got away from you. The conditions are bad. It's all right. We're still in this game. We're only down 10. Let's stay with what we got and stay solid. It's not time to lose any confidence. This is a quarterback that's been to back-to-back NBL Super Bowls. They won an NBL Season 26. They have that clutch gene. Yeah, he's a game manager, but I can see him coming out, and they can start slinging this rock, and it could get real interesting. So for those who said 28-24, 35-28, be prepared to potentially see that, as I think Seattle's going to vamp up this offense and get a lot more aggressive.
Yeah, a lot of people in the chat talking about how that's a bad read. No, I think it's the other way. I think it's a good read. This, though, is an example, as they're going to hand off to Thomas Rawls. He'll get a couple up to the 29-yard line. Bomber, this gets back to what you do in early downs dictates what you do on 3rd down. Taking a sack on 2nd down, they really haven't used Thomas Rawls at all this game. It got them into a 3rd and long, and it forced them to have to throw the ball, because if you don't, you're putting the ball into the wind, you're giving New York great field position anyways. Yeah,
so the aggressiveness on 2nd down from the New York Giants defense has been the key to this game. As you said earlier, a staple of the Bananas defense is sending that heat. They like to do it on 2nd down, as they do it again right now. Unnecessary spin, but it looks like a face mask might bail them out.
Yeah, they are. And that's a big face mask. They were getting him into a 3rd down. And after the last 3rd down, you got a lot of pressure on Russell Wilson. Instead, you gift him 15 yards. They're up to the 44-yard line. 10-point game right now, folks. Not out of this one yet. A great game here on NBL Live. While we got a second here in the third quarter, got to give a big shout out to our graphic sponsor, web3ks.com. All Business has been a big friend of the network, doing a ton of graphics for us. So if you or anyone you know needs graphics done for an affordable price, head over to web3ks.com. They're the leaders in affordable graphic design. 1st and 10 for Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks. 3 wide receivers out there. He's going to drop back to pass here on 1st down. Looking over the middle. It is complete somehow. I don't even know how he fit that one in there. Wilson, 5'11", 104, touchdown, 2 interceptions. It's been a rough go at it throwing the ball, Bomber, and you'd think that means it's Thomas Rawls' time, but they're keeping to air it out.
Yeah, they're looking to move the ball, and right there was just a little underneath check against the cover one. I did not like the throw. I thought he squeezed it in there, got lucky. But, you know, you just had an overthrow. I guess you got to kind of pay it back, get a little lucky, but continue to move these chains and keep this drive alive. They need to come away with points right now.
Well, let's throw it once again. Wilson stepping up in the pocket, looking over the middle of the field. It is complete. Oh, that one was less of a good read, but luckily he threw it right as the defender turned his back to try to catch Tyler Lockett over the middle. They get to the 21-yard line. A big break for Russell Wilson, as if his head's turned around, that one's going the other way.
Yeah, cover 2, that's what he saw, so he decided he wanted to split the safeties with the slot post. But great defense by the middle linebacker of the New York Giants. Kind of made it a risky throw, but Russell Wilson puts it on the money there, maybe kind of revenging that overthrow he had on the last drive.
Well, they're going to throw it once again. He has a man open on the left side. It's complete. 1 touch on the throw. And how about Tyler Lockett's 2nd touchdown of the game, and Russell Wilson shaking off that last interception, getting this lead back to single digits. A 1-score game here in Seattle as we're nearing the end of the third quarter. What a beautiful throw by Russell, the Love Muscle Wilson, putting the touch onto the sidelines.
Yeah, he gets it right back. So he makes a mistake that ended up in a pick 6 in the previous drive when they were in, you know, pretty nice, had some nice momentum, and they kind of turned it over. You know, it's on him. He goes back, shrugs it off, comes down. And what did I say? I said they're going to vamp up this offense. You're going to see a little bit more passing. And don't be surprised if we see kind of a shootout towards the end of this game. And Seattle's proven me right. And baby, I love to be right.
Yeah, if we know there's
the baby wasn't directed at you.
Well, look, hey, man. I just want a little bit of love. No, there's 2 things I know Bomber loves. It is of course, being right. And the Grand Mac, which I miss. I miss the Grand Mac.
What happened to that? What
I mean,
they could have discontinued it, bring it back a little bit for a couple weeks. That'd be nice. Definitely be something to throw down.
I miss it.
You know, on those
the
late
whole
nights
NBL
when
was
you're
in love
laughing.
with Grand Mac. I mean, they were all in love. 1st and 10 for Davis Webb and the New York Giants. I'm going to guess Davis Webb probably not eating too many Grand Macs at quarterback. It's not quite on the diet plan for the NFL players. Well,
wow.
How do you judge that sack? Because all 4 defensive linemen got Davis Webb there and bring him down for an 8-yard loss.
Yeah, that's what we call a blitz, Craig, right there for Seattle. Seattle putting the pressure on Davis Webb. I guess they're tired of seeing him sit back in the pocket, run these little verticals and run around. I mean, we've seen throughout the game him using his legs to extend the play. Well, you can't use your legs if you're down right after you snap the ball, and I guess that's the motto they're going for right now, because they just knocked Davis Webb down, took him for an 8-yard loss, and he really didn't even have an opportunity to get rid of the ball.
Yeah, that's some solid analysis there from our very own Bomber. Can't use your legs if you're on your back. It's tough to do it, as pressure was coming in Davis Webb's face, and he had to get rid of that one and could not find anyone downfield. Lucky that and nobody else was sitting in the back. That one's an incomplete pass. And now a 3rd and 18, and the field is flipped. It seems like the crowd's getting back to this game, Bomber.
Yeah, I would have liked to seen a halfback screen on that 2nd down, that 2nd and 18 for the New York Giants. I just think it would have been a safe play with big play opportunity. I think they're playing deep down the field as they give him too much time, and Evan Ingram burns them again. Wow, what a throw.
Let's go with they've got a deep safety back there. You see Evan Ingram running a skinny post. Why aren't you coming up and putting a little pressure on Evan Ingram instead of continuing to let him catch the ball in front of you?
Yeah, it looks like he's trying to protect over the top just a little too much, not getting aggressive and jumping the ball. And maybe that's number 35. That's not Earl Thomas out there. This is the rookie safety. He had an interception earlier, but you know you see that with rookies, you're going to get inconsistent play.
Webb setting up a little screen to the outside. Shepard has it, and he has blockers out there, but they decide that blocking was not that important on that play. They're going to get up to get 9 yards on the play, but Sterling Shepard looks like it's either his arm or his ribs. He's staying down. That's a big loss for this Giants team, but Sterling Shepard is a nice second option for Davis Webb.
Yeah, we haven't seen him too much, but I think as the season progresses, you need that guy to stay healthy because they don't have the Brandon Marshall anymore. They have a rookie wide receiver they're using right now. But, I mean, it was Odell Beckham, Sterling Shepard, and Evan Ingram last year all the way. And to lose one of them guys early could be a big deal, and they're going to have to rely on that rookie Stokes there far right now for the New York Giants.
2nd and 1 for Davis Webb in the shotgun, and let's just give him the first down as an undisciplined play up front. And the hard count gets the Seattle Seahawks. 1st and 10 at the 42-yard line. Bomber, how important is it? Time's running out for Seattle to get a stop here, at least only force a field goal.
It's very important. This is what they need right now. The New York Giants need to try to get in the end zone, and the Seattle Seahawks need to do what they do, and that's hold people to field goals and allow their defense to kind of keep their offense in the game so they can make some clutch plays. I could see this going 20-14 and Seattle taking the lead, New York trying to battle back. We're in for a thriller right now on NBL Live broadcast number 150.
Play action pass for Davis Webb. He's looking here on 1st and 10. Rushes coming. Oh, and just a little chip block by Petway. Ball's on the ground. Stokes put it on the ground, and it's recovered by the Giants. The 3rd fumble of the day for the Giants. The 3rd one that's not recovered by Seattle. And Bomber, a nice chip block there by Petway. Stokes puts it on the ground. They get lucky and recover it. And we're going to be looking back at this game. If Seattle can't come back, the missed opportunities for the defending NFC champions. Points not on drives in the first half. Fumbles not recovered. And New York's in business at the 27-yard line.
Great thing we saw from Petaway and Davis Webb on the same page as Webb slid. He took out that blocker, bought him some more time, and Stokes came right across the field. That was a beautiful play that almost ended up in disaster. I mean, New York did everything they were supposed to do, and they still fumbled the ball at the end and almost lost possession, which could have been huge and detrimental for this team. But now they're rocking and rolling. 2nd and 12 from the 28. Let's see what they're cooking up, and let's see if they can get in the end zone.
And note on the injury, Sterling Shepard not returning to the game. They're saying just a lower back strain. They're going to keep him out. See if that'll keep him out for any extended period of time. He'll get treatment on that. But that's going to put it back on Odell Beckham and the rookie Stokes, who has played well but has put the ball on the ground. But don't forget about Evan Ingram. He has been their offensive weapon so far. 2nd and 12 for Davis Webb as he drops back to pass. Looking over the middle of the field, he finds Odell Beckham in a whole lot of traffic. And we have another injury on the play. I didn't see who it was, but that's going to cut it back to a 3rd and 9. Beckham's 2nd catch of the day.
Yeah, we're noticing a lot about Odell Beckham. I think Seattle went into this week saying, let's keep him from getting yards after the catch. They seem to be bottling him up right when he makes the catch. So that's a great job by Seattle so far. But now their defense just needs to hold strong. One more play, 3rd and 9. Give this offense an opportunity to regain this lead for Seattle.
3rd and 9, a big moment here for both teams. Seattle needing a stop. New York looking to keep it going, keep the clock running, get some points on the board. 3 wide receivers out there. No Odell Beckham on the field. He might have been the one who was hurt. We'll keep an eye on that one. So the pass is over the middle. It's Evan Ingram wide open once again. Man, the Seattle Seahawks probably put a guy on him as we have another injury. It's all falling apart here. Evan Ingram, 8 catches, 124 yards. He has been the main weapon for the New York Giants.
Hey, you're noticing blitz after blitz from Seattle is starting to get picked up by New York. One thing they have to have for Seattle to be successful is a little bit of the element of surprise. Blitz, and then drop back. Get the quarterback a little paranoid. It seems like Davis Webb is getting a little too comfortable in the pocket, and he's able to make 1 to 2 to 3 reads sometimes against these real heavy blitzes, and it's really picking this team apart.
We are seeing Odell Beckham on the sidelines getting looked at by trainers. He was
that's
2
big.
plays ago. 1st and goal. It's going to be handoff to Petway. Stopped by the Seattle Seahawks. And they're still looking at him. They're looking at him intensely. Hopefully he comes back on the field because that could be a huge hit to the New York Giants if they lose 2 of their top receivers in this game. Odell Beckham getting looked at on the sidelines, Bomber. If you're a New York Giants fan, you're holding your breath.
Yeah, I'm saying I like Stokes, but I don't like him that much to where I want to see him as the only option at wide receiver on the field for us right now. But this is where you pay Petaway the big bucks for. You're inside the 5. We need to see some ground and pound from the New York Giants.
Well, they're going to try to throw this one as Kelly steps up in the pocket. Kelly puts the ball on the ground. It's recovered again by the New York Giants. As Odell Beckham, we're getting word it's a shoulder tear. He's going to be out for a couple weeks. It's a big loss, a tough injury to come back from. Odell, torn shoulder. We'll see how bad it is. But the New York Giants, I don't know, maybe this is like karma coming back for them. They've recovered all 4 of their fumbles, but they lost Odell Beckham and Sterling Shepard.
Yeah, I would have really liked to see a run play right there. But now it's going to be really predictable. Do you want to go up 20-14, or do you want to risk the opportunity and throw the ball here and risk the chance of turning the ball over? I expect the run here. It's going to be really predictable. I expect Seattle to be ready for it and to shut this run down.
Shotgun formation for Davis Webb. 3 wide receivers, 2 over to the right, 1 over to the left. Petway to the left of Davis Webb. It looks like they're setting up a little slip screen for Petway.
Oh, I love
the
it.
Blocking is out there.
Get in there. Oh, spin move.
And he's in. That was an anticlimactic end, as we're also getting word the defensive tackle Reed for the Seattle Seahawks, he'll be out with an abdominal tear. Yeah, well, that was a beautiful play call, Bomber. They didn't run the ball, but they did get a touch for Petway. They run the slip screen to the outside. They extend their lead to 24-14. An 11-play drive in the Seattle Seahawks defense that was so dominant in the first quarter, I think they forgot to come out of the locker room after halftime.
Yeah, you kind of gas your players up, especially when you're blitzing and blitzing and blitzing. The offensive line slowly started adjusting. Davis Webb looked a lot more comfortable. And here we have a little bit of a shootout going on right now. Can Seattle come back and match that score? But no,
nope,
they're
going to put the ball on the ground.
Picked up by the Giants. Wow.
Why take the ball 8 yards deep? Why take the ball out there when you're down so much?
Obviously, to fumble the ball and give it back to the New York Giants.
It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it works out. New York gets the ball back, and a game that would look like was going to come down to the wire firmly looks in control of the New York Giants, folks. A programming note as this game goes final. We are going to take the stream down for just a couple minutes. Got to switch over some things on the YouTube end, but we will be right back on with that game. I don't believe we're going to be running any sort of pregame. We're pretty much just going to get into the game right away. So stick with us during this brief break as the toss is out to Petway to the left side. He'll get up to the 9-yard line. New York. Bombers, you're looking at this game. New York looks like they're going to walk away with this one. Are you looking at this as the New York Giants took control of this one and won this game, or the Seattle Seahawks just made too many mistakes, missed too many opportunities, and really gave away a game that they looked like they should have had?
I don't think any game where you lose Odell Beckham to a shoulder tear, even though the score might say you won, it's tough to really feel that way without him, especially with such a wide receiver core as they throw it right there. Touchdown, big hit. Petway laid
Get
it.
off of me!
Petway flipped the defense and laid out the defense with the ball in his hand. Wow, what a run right there by Petway in open space, making it happen as their kicker once again suspect on this extra point. They go up 31-14. The Giants take a commanding lead. Looks like they're going to walk away with this NBL Live broadcast number 150. But yes, this was a game in which Seattle had opportunities. They just couldn't come up with those variables. The ball came out of their hands multiple times for the New York Giants. An overthrow from Russell Wilson. I can look at a couple things, or I can go back and say maybe the Seattle Seahawks are just a bad regular season team. Maybe they're just average in the regular season. Maybe that's what it is. You know, those teams that turn it on in the playoffs, maybe they're one of those kind of teams, and they just don't have the demeanor, especially in their older veterans, you know, to continue to play 4 quarters and put together a game.
Well, at the end of the day, yeah, this is a team that went 9-7 last year in by far the weakest division in the NBL, and they ended up getting to the Super Bowl as they tried a little PA. That one should have been intercepted. That one should have been housed. As the big guy up front couldn't get his mitts on that one. It's going to bring up a 2nd and 10. Yeah, team went 9-7, still found their way to the Super Bowl. Couldn't quite overcome the Pittsburgh Steelers, folks. Again, coming up next, Bomber, I'm excited for this one. A rematch of the AFC Championship. A game, the Los Angeles Chargers, they're not just looking for redemption. They were absolutely embarrassed in the second half of that AFC Championship game. They're looking to really get back a little bit of their dignity. Thomas Rawls, get out of here, big fella. He's going. Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie brings him down at the 2-yard line. Rawls, only 9 touches on the day. Is that a little suspect for the Seattle Seahawks?
Well, that's what happens. You know, I told you the team was going to vamp up in the second half. I know this team fairly well, and they kind of went away from the run, and I think that's detrimental to their team. You won't see that same kind of play calling, though, in the postseason. That's what makes this team so great in the postseason. They really lock up. They go ground and pound, and their defense really steps up, and they play through their running offense, and I think that's what makes this team great. But right now, you're seeing a team as they're going to get into the end zone here and score with Tyler Lockett on a little end around to make this a little closer.
Has had.
Yeah, he's looked great. I mean, he's looked like a solidified slot receiver that you can gadget in certain spaces, and he looks like a guy that's going to have 40 catches this year for the Seattle Seahawks.
Yeah, he's found the end zone 3 times, 2 through the air, 1 on the ground. Seattle cuts back 31-21. You got to think an onside kick is coming here. They need to at least recover 1. They do have all 3 timeouts. They line up for this one. This pretty much will determine the game, folks. Again, we got doubleheader action. Taking down the stream for just a couple seconds, but we'll be right back on. Brief pregame will get you right out to that game. As it's
I got a trivia question for the chat.
Sure.
And I don't want anybody to cheat. And if you know the answer, you can answer immediately, or we let it go to the chat. Who is the starting quarterback for the Los Angeles Chargers right now? They don't have Phillip Rivers anymore. That's not the answer, so I'm going to leave that out there. Who's going to be starting in this next game? NBL Live Broadcast 151. We got the Steelers, Chargers, and NBL Season 27 Super. Oh, no, not Super. I almost said it.
You almost said it.
AFC Championship rematch. Who's going to be the starting quarterback for your Los Angeles Chargers? And it's a crazy answer.
Well, yeah, and as I was saying, Bomber, this Chargers team, after getting really embarrassed in the AFC Championship game, they're not looking for redemption. They're looking to get a little bit of their dignity back and prove that they are a contender. This is a team that owner Gubb, he won the Super Bowl in season 24, wanting to get back to the Super Bowl, and This Chargers team, they're almost the opposite of the Seattle Seahawks. They look dominant throughout the regular seasons. They're just trying to get over that hump, and that hump is a big one. It's the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, that's what you got to build your team. And I don't know, the loss of Phillip Rivers I thought would be a step forward, but with who they have replacing him, I believe it's a little bit of a step back, a bit of a step back, and I think it's going to limit this team.
And up to Petway on 2nd and 11. They just need a first down as Petway got a little eager with the truck. He'll go down at the 40-yard line, bring up a 3rd and 8.
We got the right answer in the chat. Eric Greco, that's Eric G. He says Cardell Jones. You should be familiar with him. Isn't he an Ohio State quarterback?
Former quarterback of the Ohio State University. Yes, he was.
Was he good in college?
Well, okay. He was good for 4 games. He was great in the Big Ten Championship. In 2014, when he replaced J.T. Barrett in the Michigan
I'm sorry,
game.
Guys. I opened this up. My apologies in advance. Go
great.
ahead.
Beat Wisconsin 59-0. Beat Alabama. Won the national title.
Oh, he did, huh?
And then, unfortunately, he came back the next year and didn't play so much quarterback as throw the ball wherever you feel like it. He was garbage. Yeah. That's
Down
old
goes
12
Davis
gauge.
Webb. Well, it looks like Seattle's going to fight back in here and maybe make it a little bit interesting for us.
They're going to have to get an onside kick.
That definitely needs to happen, but until then, they actually have to score to make me even get a little intrigued.
I mean,
I don't know if it's going to happen.
We've seen weird stuff happen. Bomber, I'm going to bring this one up because I know he's not on the broadcast. I also know he's not watching because he's having dinner with his wife's family. But do you remember that Chargers-Titans game? That game looked over. Then in typical Sonny Weaver fashion, they made a quick exit in their first game of the playoffs as the Chargers made a miracle throw down the field and just crushed the dreams of all Titans fans.
And how great was Phillip Rivers that game at the end? I mean, the clutch, the ability to see, hey, I got my guy over here running a post, and he's running deep, and he's got 3 guys on him, but he's still open, and I'm going to throw it to him anyways. That takes a lot of courage right there in that situation with the time they had left to basically throw it to the middle of the field right then, as we had that game on the Final Minutes episode as well. A crazy finish to the game, and a well-called game as well, as another offsides by the New York Giants.
That really gives up after a really nice punt down at the 2-yard line. Seattle's going to have to go now 93 yards, get a touchdown, recover an onside kick, get a field goal. We'll see if they can do it. We've seen some weird things happen here on NBL Live. They have no timeouts, though. Again, the big news.
Actually, they're saying that the Los Angeles Chargers picked up Jay Cutler. So we're going to see Smokin' Jay starting in NBL broadcast number 151 coming up in just a couple minutes, actually.
We actually saw Jay Cutler on NBL Live last year. It was not good.
Oh, with the Vikings. Yeah.
It was real bad. It was one of the worst things I've ever seen. Clock is running. Couldn't get out of bounds. Little underneath throw. Wilson in the shotgun bunch formation to the right. 1 over to the left. He'll drop back to pass on 1st and 10. He's going to take a deep shot. DRC is back there in coverage, and he overthrows everyone looking for, looks like Doug Baldwin down the left side. Going to bring up a 2nd and 10. Jay Cutler, definitely still in the league. Jay Cutler, probably a quarterback? I don't know after that NBL Live game last year. I think he lost his quarterback card.
Yeah, not a good performance by Jay Cutler in the playoffs last year, NBL season 27. You can catch that game in our archives. It was Vikings versus the, see if I can get it, was it the Seahawks or the Redskins? No, it was the Seahawks.
It was the Seahawks, yeah.
It was the Vikings Seahawks. Yeah, Jay Cutler as he goes underneath one more time here.
Russell
Wilson.
Underneath with this
you
little
can't
time.
go underneath. Yeah, you got to drive. Where is the Tyler Lockett? I want to see a Tyler Lockett bomb, a.k.a. the Tyler Lockett rocket downfield. Give them an opportunity here to make a play for you. And let's make this interesting for us before we go off the air for about, what do you say, 5 to 7 minutes?
Five minutes or so. Bomber, so how long typically shoulder tears? What are we looking at for Odell Beckham, who, if you missed it earlier, he went down with a shoulder tear. Russell Wilson takes a sack, and that's really the one thing you can't do. Well, what shoulder tears, what are we looking at? A couple weeks? 4 or 5 weeks?
Yeah, I think it's about 4 to 6 weeks on a shoulder tear. I just had one with defensive tackle Gianni Slade. He missed the entire preseason 4 weeks. It might be different, though, because I had one with Matt Stafford, and it was 7 weeks. In NBL season 26, it kept him out the playoffs. So if it's a quarterback or somebody that uses it, maybe wide receiver would take a little bit longer. It also depends on your trainer, how long it would take as they find Jimmy Graham over the middle. First time we said his name.
Yeah.
He's collecting a check. Jimmy Graham is making some good money right now.
Let's just sit there. Let's go best case scenario. You're looking at let's go 4 weeks. Let's look at their schedule coming up for the New York Giants. Seahawks are in good shape. They should win 3 out of their next 4 games. That's how easy their schedule is. Seahawks leave here. They play the Buccaneers, who are an up-and-coming team, had a great draft. 49ers, the Pittsburgh Steelers, which will be on NBL Live Week 4, and then Week 5 they play the Baltimore Ravens. So this Seahawks team should be fine. Let's say best case scenario, OBJ's out 4 weeks. The New York Giants, they match up with the Chicago Bears next week. That's a tough matchup. The Green Bay Packers in Week 3, the Atlanta Falcons in Week 4, and the New York Jets in Week 5. As this pass deep down the field, it's going to be batted away by DRC. Bomber, Bears, Packers, Falcons, Jets, 3 of those games at home. If they don't have Odell Beckham, how many of those do the Giants walk away with a win?
I think if I'm a Giants fan, I'm happy if I get 2. I'm happy if we only lose 2. If we lose to the Bears and the Falcons without Odell, I'm happy. But this defense is healthy. So what are we talking about here? This is a defense that was top 5, one of the best ball-hawking defenses in the league against some teams that really, outside of the Falcons, aren't very pass-dominant teams. So if you can get a lead on them early, you can force them into passing, and it could create some turnover situations for them. I think the Giants only lose 1 of those games. I think that they find a way to win. I think that's what they have to do. I mean, Davis Webb wasn't an MVP for nothing. Yeah, a lot of it contributed to the success of Odell and his ability. But you got a rookie. Let's see what he's got. You got Evan Ingram. Let's see what he's got. And you got a great running back in Petaway. Lean on him a little bit more. And I think they lose 1. I mean, they could lose 3. But I'm thinking as a Giants fan, I'm okay with 2, and I'm hoping for just 1.
4th and 10. They're just going to hand this ball off to Thomas Rawls. Thomas Rawls is going to get a little stat padding here at the end. Going to make this look closer than it is. Get out of here, big fella. 72 yards. Rawls looking to the sidelines of the coaching staff going, feed me the ball. What are you doing? As Seattle is going to close this to a 4-point game, 3 depending on this extra point. Bomber Thomas Rawls completely non-existent in this game. They finally give him the ball late. And look what he does. 2 long touchdowns runs, and they cut it to a 3-point game. Your final score, the New York Giants with a win, 31-28. I'm hearing some boo birds here in Seattle. I think they're a little unhappy Thomas Rawls didn't get the ball earlier.
Yeah, I'll tell you what that is, though. When the Bleacher Report power rankings come out in about 5 weeks, if they don't lose from them to now, their only loss is a 3-point loss. They're going to be top of the charts. No one's going to consider this game a blowout, and they're going to forget about that Thomas Rawls trash touchdown at the end of the game that essentially made it a 3-point game.
Well, now it's time to make our selection for the NBL Live Player of the Game for broadcast number 150, Bomber. There were some great performances. If the Seattle Seahawks won, Tyler Lockett 3 touchdowns on the day. He certainly would be in the running, but it's no question. Evan Ingram was the reason why this team ran. Evan Ingram has got to be the player of the game.
Absolutely, guys. You can find all our Player of the Games on 365.maddenbomberleague.com. That's the archives for Player of the Game. We put them all up after the game. I'm going with Evan Ingram as well. Unanimous decision. He's got to get it. He was reliable early on when the offense looked a little stagnant and a little unstable, and he kind of created that stability that they needed and got Davis Webb going. So definitely Evan Ingram, tight end for the New York Giants.
Well, we have one part of this doubleheader down, Bomber. Normally we'd be signing off, looking towards
Are you tired?
Week 2.
I'm a little.
Look, it's week 1. It's season 28. We're getting this underway. There's no time to be tired because we got a rematch of the AFC Championship coming up in just about 5 minutes. We'll be taking down the stream for just a second. Come back on with a quick pregame, and we'll be going to our second game of the night, Bomber. Game 1 did not disappoint. I can only expect great things from Game 2.
Absolutely, an AFC Championship rematch. The Steelers won it last year. The Chargers, led by Jay Cutler, are looking to get some revenge. It's going to be an interesting hour. Make sure you join us. We'll be back in about 5 to 7 minutes on NBL Live, broadcast number 151.
Yep, just don't go anywhere, folks. Taking down the stream for just about 5 minutes. Hit that subscribe button. You can know the exact moment we come back online with a rematch of the AFC Championship game between the Steelers and the Chargers. But this one is under wraps. Your final score, once again, the New York Giants start out the season 1-0 with a 31-28 victory over the Seattle Seahawks. We'll see you in 5 minutes right here on NBL Live.